That's David's compassion. He has compassion on his son Absalom. He has compassion on Saul. He has compassion on Mephibosheth. But what about David's passion? And now for this, we'll jump back to chapter 6 in 2 Samuel about the ark. And I want to bring up this map here and just kind of put a map on it and then just describe what's happening. First of all, the Philistines, remember the Philistines back in 1 Samuel? The Philistines captured the ark, and so they're down here, Gath and Ekron. The Philistines taking it here. The ark then is sent back up to Beit Shemesh, so the cattle basically haul the ark back up to Beit Shemesh, and the ark is down here. Now David, where is David at this time? David's at Jerusalem. David is an administrative genius. This guy is really sharp, okay? David captures Jerusalem, so Jerusalem is what? David captures Jerusalem, so Jerusalem is known as the city of David. It's his city. He captured it, so it is his city. It is the city of David. Jerusalem is the city of David. It's the political capital. Now, what does David say? He said, I know Jerusalem is the political capital, but he says, the ark is down here in a tent. He says, I want to bring the ark to Jerusalem. By bringing the ark to Jerusalem, what does David do? He consolidates the power, so now that Jerusalem will not only be the political capital, but now it will be the religious capital. It'll be like Rome being with Washington, D.C. or something like that, okay? Okay, you know what I'm saying? The political and the religious kind of coming in one. So David is going to haul the ark up. So he's going to haul it from Beit Shemesh up here to Kiryat Yearim. As he goes up to Kiryat Yearim, up into the hills, this is where Uzzah, there's going to be a guy, the cart's going to hit a rock, Uzzah's going to put Uzzah in, it's going to die here, they're taking it to Kiryat Yearim, and then a later time, David's going to bring the ark from Kiryat Yearim up to Jerusalem, and David's going to house the ark then in a tent in Jerusalem. So that like a tabernacle structure in Jerusalem, David's going to bring the ark to Jerusalem. But before we get there, let's just kind of walk through what happens as the ark goes up to Jerusalem, because there's some really cool things here. This ark coming up to Jerusalem shows David's passion, shows his passion. But before we get to the passion of the joy of David in 2 Samuel 6, let me first hit Uzzah. As the ark is going up to Jerusalem, they put the ark on a cart. Now, first of all, is the ark supposed to travel on a cart? When they went in the wilderness, and when they went around Jericho, how was the ark to be transported? With poles on the priests. The priests were to hand carry the ark on poles. They put it on a cart. The cart goes up into the mountains. It hits a rock, and the ark is going to fall off the rock. What does Uzzah do? Uzzah reaches out his hand. By the way, how big is the ark? The ark is about this big by this big. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Is the ark big enough that you could handle it? One person probably, maybe not pick it up because it's overlaid with gold, but I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's only about this big, okay? So it's like a small cedar chest. So what happens is it's going down because it hit a rock. Uzzah sticks out his hands to try to keep it on the cart, and God slays Uzzah on the spot. When you violate that which is holy, is there usually a big and a reaction from God on the spot? Does anybody remember Nadab and Abihu in Leviticus 11 when they offered up an unauthorized fire by the Lord, and Nadab and Abihu, Aaron's sons, dropped dead? So this ark thing. Now, is it possible that Uzzah had proper motives, that his motives were to save the ark? But sometimes, just because your motives are right, does it also matter what you do? Not just what your motives are. You say, well, my motives are good. No. It matters what you do as well as your motives. It's not an either or. My motives were right, but what I did wasn't right. No. They both have to be right. What you do has to be right, but your motives have to be right also. So I'm saying he may have had the right motives, but what he did was he violated that which is holy, and wham, bam. So Uzzah's down. David freaks out. David says, well, I'm not bringing the ark up here. The one guy's dead already. We're not going to do that. David's upset with that. So then David leaves the ark there for a while. Then David realizes God's blessing the place there, and so David comes down and brings the ark up. This time David goes down, they carry it up on the poles with the priests coming, and then every 7 steps they offer up sacrifices to God, sacrifices all the way up. And then I want to read David's celebration as he brings the ark into Jerusalem. So now the ark of God is coming into Jerusalem kind of for the first time, and this is David's celebration. He's bringing the ark to the city of David. And so what happens is, it says, David, wearing a linen ephod, danced before the Lord with all his might. I was reared in a really strict Baptist church, and we didn't dance, you know. It was like illegal to dance and stuff. And you just say, yeah, it's okay, Hildebrandt, white men can't dance anyways, but that's probably true, but for me anyways. But anyway, so it's really interesting here. Did David dance before the Lord? Now question, is this guy-girl dancing kind of thing like after my basketball games with my friends? There wasn't a good scene actually. But here, David's dancing before the Lord, just in praising God, just leaping and praising God. It says, and David wearing a linen ephod, he took off his royal robe. David takes off his royal robe. So he's down to his t-shirt and stuff, and David's out there basically getting down with the people, okay? Takes off his royal robe, and he's getting down, man. And so before the Lord, and he's dancing with all his might while he and the entire house of Israel brought the ark of the Lord with shouts and with the sounds of trumpets. As the ark was entering into the city of David, Michal, the daughter of Saul, watched from the window. And she said, how proud I am. Look, there is my husband, bringing the ark of God into his city, Jerusalem. And my husband is leading the way as the king of Israel. Isn't this exciting? Not. Okay, here's Michal. And when Michal saw David leaping and dancing before the Lord, she despised him in her heart. Is it possible for a wife to despise her husband? Been there sometimes. Okay, usually for good cause in my case. But she despises him. This is like the happiest day of David's life. He's dancing before the Lord, just praising God and us. It's the happiest day. He comes then home to see his wife, and he comes home to see his wife. Happiest day. He comes home to see his wife, and here's how she greets him. When David returned home, verse 20 of chapter 6, David's coming home to bless his household. Okay, as a father would bless his family and stuff. David returned home to bless his household. Michal, the daughter of Saul, came out to meet him and said, how the king of Israel distinguished himself today, disrobing in the sight of all the slave girls. David, you really turned them on. Don't they get down, you know, and they really like seeing the king, you know, and stuff. And slave girls, as any vulgar fellow would. Is she being sarcastic, cynical, degrading her husband? Her husband comes home happy and excited. He goes in, he meets that. You can just see it just takes him down. Now David, there's some things here that I don't say David's always the smartest guy in the world, okay? David does something here that I just want to tell you from my perspective is stupid, okay? And I know this to be true. My experience, I'm going to tell you it's stupid, but when you see it, you'll know it's stupid, okay? Don't do this. When you're married, don't do this. David responds, and I'm critiquing this. David said, so she says, oh, David, did get turned all the little slave girls on, didn't you, David? In front of, you know. David then says to her, to Michal, it was before the Lord who chose me, that's good. It was before the Lord who chose me rather than your father. When you do your father business, where is her father? He's dead, okay? Is that cool? You chose me rather than your father. That rather than your father part, well, I want to tell you, when you're arguing with your spouse, you don't bring the father-in-law and you don't bring the mother-in-law into it, okay? That's just like grounds off the table. I just want to tell you, you just don't do that in a critical way. This is stupid. I can tell you from experience, it will blow up in your face. This is not good. Now, but then David says some things here that are good and stuff. Or anyone from his house when he appointed me ruler over the Lord's house. And then David says this, and this is beautiful. I will celebrate before the Lord. I will become even more undignified than this. I will be humiliated in my own eyes. But by these slave girls you spoke of, I will be held in honor. Do you see that? He says, I'm the king. I will humiliate myself in front of them. Question, but by them will I be held in honor? A king that comes down and is like with the slave people. Do the slaves then honor that? Is that a big deal? I could use that example here at Gordon College. This is the honest truth. I'm sitting up in my office, my wonderful office. Okay, some of you have been up there to see my wonderful office and stuff. I've been up there 12 years. I've never had a president of Gordon College come up, and I've never seen him on the third floor of Frost ever in 12 years. I'm here all the time. All of a sudden, I'm sitting in my office, feet kicked up, and all of a sudden, hear a knock on the door, turn around, and you come on in, and stuff, figuring somebody's taking a late quiz or something. Turn around, and there Honk is the president of Gordon College. I'm like, whoa, it's like totally shocked and stuff. But the guy comes up to the servant quarters and says, hey, what do you think about this? And we start talking together and stuff like that. Question, did that blow me away? That blew me away. And did I say what? Am I impressed with that? That the guy would get off, he's the president of the whole thing. He would come up and do that. Okay, that's impressive. Person of high status comes down and visits a person of low status and stuff. Now, okay, maybe that example doesn't fit exactly, but this is David's thing. But by the way, it's really interesting here, the next verse, the narrator puts in this. This is a sad verse. The next verse, and Michal, the daughter of Saul, had no children till the day of her death. You see how the narrator says this? It kind of evens it up. She was despised David when David was praising God, and she has no children until the day of her death. And so David, all I'm trying to show here is David's passion. David is a passionate person, and he loves the Lord, and he really gets excited. He dances, the ark dancing, Michal's response, and then David saying, I will humble myself, but those people that are the underlings, the lower class, will hold me in honor. So,